We're joined right now by Kansas head coach Bill Self. Coach, if you want to open things up with a statement, then we'll take questions for 20 minutes or so.
Well, we're obviously very excited to be in New Orleans, and we've actually we're here 10 years ago and had a great time, and I'm proud to have my team here representing our university.
Let's start on the left side with Matt.
Matt Tate, Lawrence Journal-World. Coach, there's been a lot of talk about the guard posting up matchup in this thing. I wonder how important you see that. And I also, you mentioned yesterday no one's talking about Kansas Nova, and I asked Jay earlier if he agrees that it's kind of the undercard. He kind of laughed and said he hasn't had time to think about that. So I wonder how much you're addressing that or playing that up at all.
Well, I don't think the undercard here will get more attention than anything that we've ever had before. So I don't look at it that way at all. I do look at it as the majority of the tension, and probably rightfully so, will be on the second game because it's Duke Carolina and they never met, and Coach Case last year and all those things. But you know, we're fired up. I don't think anybody in this field is flying under any radar or anything like that, and you know, everybody has the same goals, and actually I believe all four teams have a legitimate shot, you know, if they play well.
Coach, we're going to go to the right side, too, up front.
Hey, Bill. Scott Gleason with USA Today. We have statistics that show that as far as spending goes, the men's basketball program at KU has nearly doubled what the women's basketball program has spent, and that goes in three categories. One is travel, the other is equipment, and the other is recruiting. I'm just curious to see what your thoughts are on spending equality within your own university and also men's and women's basketball as a whole.
Yeah, Scott, you're throwing that at me, and I have absolutely no idea what anybody else does. I mean, I know what our program does and those sorts of things, and we do everything first class. And it's my understanding, based on what I've been told, that the women are doing everything first class and the same things that we do. So I don't know about all the different things that go within a budget or how money is spent, but I do know that our university takes very serious, and our athletic department takes very serious of treating all sports the best they possibly can financially.
We're going to go to the second row. Dennis?
Oh, that was my question.
Okay. Let's go back over here to the left, right on the corner.
Hey, Bill. Amy Just from the Times-Picayune. 2016 feels like a long time ago. But how have you seen Mitch develop in the past 6 years to be, you know, the leader that he is, and, you know, in a unique situation where he's still playing college basketball 6 years later?
I think, I don't know if Mitch would love playing basketball a seventh or eighth year, but he would love playing at Kansas. He just loves the school so much. He's so popular on campus. I don't know that we've had many, if any, that would feel the same way about his school that he does. So it's been a treat to watch him grow up. I think you know, you think about how the senior year was taken away from so many last year in so many ways, and then you have the NCAA giving these kids an opportunity to get an additional year, and to think that he has an opportunity to go out this way as opposed to the way it could have been, I think is very rewarding for him. And I know there's a lot of other student athletes out there that get the same opportunity.
Coach, on the right side on the aisle, we'll go with Mike. Mike L first, then Mike D.
Michael Pressey with NCAA.com. Bill, long tradition is such a part of all the teams here. When you start coaching at a place like that, and even now, how much do you feel the responsibility of carrying on, and how much do the players feel that, carrying on for the people who came before?
I think the players feel it after they've been there. I'm not sure they feel it before they get there. You know, we talk about, you know, there's only one place you could ever play for where the inventor of the game was your first coach. I mean, that's pretty strong, and I'm not sure it really resonates with the players until they've been there and can feel it, and all the videos and all the things that we show them and all the stories. I do think they feel it. But with me personally, I was a GA there in 85, 86. We went to the Final Four. I had very little responsibilities, but I saw firsthand just what it can be like there. And I mean, I take it very seriously that I'm the caretaker of the most historic program that's ever been. That's how I look at it. I know that's my perspective, but that's how I look at it, and I'm very proud to carry that because it does mean something extra when you stop and think about Naismith and Allen and Rupp and Chamberlain, and you go down Manning, and you go down the list. It's pretty special to be in charge and be a caretaker in the brief moment in time that we actually are.
A little further back on the right-hand dial, Mike.
Mike DeCourcy from Sporting News. Bill, all those names you mentioned, Remy Martin would not fit in a lot of different ways. He's very unusual player, and unusual for you to have someone who can go get his and often does in the way that he does. I wonder if you could explain a little bit about what it's been like to coach him and try to incorporate what he does into what you've done for 20-some years.
Well, Remy is probably different than anybody I've ever coached, but I've loved coaching him, and because I love his personality and I love his energy and these things. It's just been unfortunate for him this year because he's probably had about as frustrating a year as I can ever remember somebody that wasn't out with a season-ending injury. I mean, he comes to practice, works hard every day, does an extra 2 to 3 hours of treatment, whatever it is, and you get to practice, and some days maybe he can go, and some days maybe he can't even go. So, we recommended that he shut it down. He shut it down, and now I see and have seen what his presence can actually mean and how it could benefit a team. I'm still trying to figure it out, to be honest, on how to incorporate him the best I can, but to give him credit because he's figured out how to fit in with what we do. So I give him the credit. He's been awesome, but we didn't have anybody that you could run bad offense and come away with the basket, and he's one of those guys, and that's so important this time of year.
Front row toward the left.
Gary Bedore, KC Star. Bill, I wondered if you could comment on Dave's work ethic and how much he wants it compared to some of the other bigs in terms of getting ready for games and stuff.
You know what? I think we've had a ton of guys that want it, and their preparation is great and everything. I think I probably respect David's prep more than most, is because guys, we practice at 3, you show up at 1:30, you get taped, you go to weights, you practice, and you go home. With David, practice at 3, weights at 2, show up at 11:30 to get treatment and do all the things that he's doing, probably 6 days a week, 7 days a week, so you could go to practice. So, his prep work for opponents is probably very consistent with others, but what he has to go through to put himself in a position to play, I can't help but respect that a ton.
Coach, we're going to take a few in the back of the room toward the left.
Yep. Chris Lee with Cake TV. Bill, just how special is it to not only get here, but to have 2 local guys, and Christian and Ochai, play such a big role at getting you to the stage?
Well, it would be special to get here regardless, as you said it, but we've never put an emphasis on recruiting local kids. We put more of an emphasis on obviously just going out and getting the best kids, and we've been able to recruit national for the most part. But it is pretty special that within 45 minutes of your home, you have arguably two of the very best wings on any team in college basketball. So, and they were recruited, but they weren't highly recruited. I mean, whenever you're not a starter on your AAU program, that's usually not the guys that Villanova and Kansas and Carolina and Duke go recruit. So, and then they've turned out to be as good as anybody we could have ever recruited.
Coach, we're going all the way back, all the way left.
Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41. Speaking of local guys, you've had a T-hand on your team every time you've made the Final Four. I know you know the family very well by now. How much of a, good luck charm, do you treat them as?
Well, the T-hands have kind of become the first family of our program because we've had I believe since 2007, we've gone to 4 Final Fours, and Connor was a part of 2, and now Chris has been a part of 2. So, and they both put their handprint all over everything we do. So, really proud of them. But the family's been unbelievable. They have one younger one, Marcus, but he's just a student on campus, so I don't think we can get him out. But they have been kind of our good luck charm.
In the center of the room, Coach, all the way back.
Hey, Coach. Len Jennings with KMBC. Coach Wright was out here talking about 2018, and he kind of almost describing it like it was an anomaly. Caught fire. It's happened to him. Just your thoughts on that, the game that you guys played in 2018, and if you have a similar takeaway.
I haven't wanted to think about that since 2018. So they were unbelievable that day. I mean, they made 18 threes, probably made 12 the first half. I don't know the exact number. They jumped out on us 22-4, if I'm not mistaken, and it wasn't over before it started, but it wasn't far off. By that under 12 or under 8 timeout, we had a long hill to climb, and that was a special team he had, maybe one of the best teams college basketball's seen the last decade, and certainly, when you're that talented and that well coached and drilled, and then you play your very best on a particular day, you're going to be tough for anybody to handle, and they certainly were too much for us that day.
Third row, Coach, right in front of us.
Coach Chris Button, ESPN, to add on to that 2018 team versus this year's team, how are they similar? How are they different?
Our team specifically, that team that we had a center that was playing hurt. He had sprained his MCL right before then, so he wasn't quite himself. But I got to be honest, that 18 team was hot coming in here. I mean, we won a great game against Duke in the Elite 8 game, and we had probably the hottest guard in the country in Malik Newman at that time, and then we still had Devontae and Svi. So we were playing with potential pros, and this year's team, we've got 2 or 3 guys that I think could make a living playing this game a long time at that level. But I don't know that I would say that this team was more talented, but I think I could say this team was more connected on both ends. I think this year's team has become better defensively, and offensively we're not far behind at all what that team was. So I like this team. I think we got a collection of really good players, and then when really good players play well together, I think we can play at a really high level.
Coach, up front here, we're going to go to Alabama.
AP Stedham, WHEP, AM and FM, Foley, Alabama. Congratulations, Coach, and good to see you. Coach, what are some of the characteristics of a Jay Wright team? And then also, what are some of the crucial things you've learned about coaching in a Final Four?
Well, I think, Jay's teams are, if you were to ask coaches across America, I think that played against them, he said, well, they're unbelievably sound, they're fundamental, they don't turn it over, you have to beat them, they don't beat themselves, and in our sport, there's probably more games lost than there are games actually won, and they're not going to help you beat them. So that would be something that would be a great compliment if anybody ever said that about my teams. They probably don't, but if they did, I would take that as a compliment, because obviously they're very, very good and sound. And my experiences in the Final Four, I actually had my best experience my first time. But the biggest thing that I think you have to do here, you have to find some way to keep minds and bodies fresh. This is draining and taxing for many, and it is up until Saturday. And if you're fortunate enough to win, then it's even more so after that. So, finding a way to keep guys off their feet, to keep guys not thinking about things, burning energy in the hotel room, things like that, and then obviously have them play with freedom. Those would be the things that I would try to stress the most.
Coach, midway back of the room toward the right side here. Your radio, I believe.
Hey, Bill, David Lawrence. Gillespie, his numbers, shooting the three, he's great at the free throw line, assists, just comments about him. Does it remind you of anyone in the league now or previous that you have faced?
Well, he kind of reminds me going way back to Mike Nardi. And then he remind me of Archie Diacono. And then he would remind me of Jalen Brunson. I mean, all those guys have certain qualities that, they can all post up. They all take care of the basketball. They're all good shooters, and they're unbelievable leaders. Anytime you're two-time Big East Player of the Year and obviously an All-American, you got to be able to play. And I think he's really a talent, but I think his leadership and toughness equals his talent. So I think he's a terrific college player, terrific.
Coach, second row on the left, Lawrence Journal World, or gentleman on the left is good too.
Yeah, Bill, Zach Boyer from Lawrence Journal World. You kind of went through this situation a little bit with Creighton, with Kalkbrenner going down. You get the situation with Moore going down. How much can you prepare now? Limited tape for a guy who plays 35 minutes, but you got the extra week now to dig into things. How much does that change the dynamic there?
I don't know that there's a lot we can do to prepare differently, because I think Jay's still going to do what they do. But they did play a game against Connecticut early in the season when Justin was out, and Villanova played arguably one of their best games of the year. I think they hung 85 on Connecticut and 6 of 11 from 3 and 21 of 22 from the line. So, and they did try to post their guards still the same way, even though Justin's one of their better posting guards. But they were able to play without him, and so they can draw from that and know they're very capable of playing very well, even without Justin. So. We'll watch that, and we have watched it, but I don't know if it showed me a lot of different stuff. But it showed me that, no matter who they got out there, they're capable of still playing the same way they've been playing.
Coach, we're going to try to take one from Zoom right now. We have Christopher out there. Chris, can you hear us?
Hey, this is Chris Idell from Herb FM Radio in Baltimore. Sorry about that. Coach Self, talk about your last time you've been at the Final Four. Is this team similar to that team, or is it a little bit different?
Is my team similar to that team?
Yeah.
I would say we're similar in some ways. That team shot the ball better and had more guys that could probably shoot with range. But that team was average defensively, and even though we haven't been great defensively all year long, I do think we're more capable on that end than maybe the other team was, and I don't think that we have as many prolific three-point shooters, but I think we got 5 or 6 guys that's all scored at least 22 in a game this year. So, they're more than capable. So there are some similarities, but I actually think I actually think this year's team. I wouldn't have said this in January. Overall, if looking at both ends, I think is a more consistent and probably a better basketball team.
Now that we've showed off our technology, Coach, we're going to go back into this room on the front left.
24/7 Sports. I want to ask about a rotation question. At the under-16, you usually go to the lineup with Remy and Mitch in there. It seems like you guys go on some runs when that lineup's in there. What do you like about what that group brings, and what has it made it kind of so effective through the postseason?
Well, Remy, he brings energy, he brings speed and everything, and Mitch, to me, brings shot blocking, rim protection, things like that. He's become pretty good at that, and so I don't know that we're a lot different or we're better, so to speak, but it seems like to me that Mitch, in 6 years, we've been watching him add energy to a game when he comes in, and we're definitely seeing that with Remy as well. So it just seems like to me it's a more energetic bunch whenever that team plays together.
Coach, this will be our last question. Back of the room, right in front of us.
Coach Bill Self, Darren Smith, Sports Radio 810, to Kansas City. Looking back on this past season, is there a signature win or loss that you feel that may have gotten this team, together, cohesive to make this type of run that they're on right now?
Yeah, I don't know that there's a win that I would say that one really brought it all together for us, but there was a loss that certainly helped us, and on game day in late January, Kentucky came in our house and put it on us. And there was a big difference between what our team looked like than a team that could win a national championship looked like on that day. And even though we didn't really talk about it like that. Everybody in our locker room knew that we had a long ways to go, because that was a very eye-opening and humbling day. And through that, I think that was a catalyst to kind of tell us, hey, we think we may be okay, but we're not near as good as we think we are. And I do think it helped us.
We want to thank Coach Self for joining us here in the main interview room. Coach, good luck. We'll see you tomorrow before you take the stage on Saturday.